जय श्री राधे। सब वैष्णवों को जय श्री कृष्ण। श्री वल्लभाधीश की जय। आज के आनंद की जय हो। So the day 84 for the 84 Vaishnav and आज 84 दिन है. Day 84 and Varta 77. The story of Sundar Das and Madho Das, Gangaputra Brahmins who lived in a village called Pipri, which was about 20 miles from Sri Jagannath Puri, Bhav Prakash. In the eternal Leela, these two are two gopis in the group of Kamarikas. They were Sakhis of Radha Sahachari, named Sheela and Leela. They were both born in this village called Pipri. Sundar Das was born into a Brahmin family traditionally living near the Ganga river and making an income from that situation, and Madhu Das into a Saraswat Brahmin family. Madhu Das's father had placed his faith in one Muslim holy man in the local mosque. This holy man had barbaric habits, and Madhu Das's father regularly made offerings of flower garlands and sweet snacks in their fashion. Madhu Das's father had not been able to beget a son, so he had worshipped this holy man, and then his son was born. That was why that Saraswat Brahmin had such faith in the Muslim holy man, who used to talk a lot with that Brahmin. However, because he was a Hindu, he did not reveal this to anyone, and therefore called his son Madhu Das. Sri Krishna Chaitanya had appeared in the eastern Gauda region, and so his father had Madhu Das initiated by him. But the father and son both had strong faith in the Muslim holy man. They also kept a deity and worshipped it as a show. But when they offered anything to him, they used the Muslim holy man's name, calling him to accept the offering, and he did. In that very village lived a Gangaputra Brahmin named Sundar Das. It was his habit to serve for a day any saintly person who came there. He would press their feet and bring them water and supplies. When they left, he would walk with them for 4 miles. Once Sri Acharyaji was travelling to Jagannath Puri, and he stopped by a lake not far from Pipri village. Sundar Das came there, and after paying his respects to Krishna Das, offered his services of massaging Sri Acharyaji's feet. Fetching his water or bringing supplies, he said, "I live in this village and I always serve any great personality that comes here. I am a Gangaputra Brahmin householder. Please tell me what to do and I will do it." "Please," Krishna Das replied, "please stay well away from everything here. If you touch anything, it will be considered polluted. Go and do your work. You cannot be useful here. Make sure not to touch anything." Sundar Das objected. "What have I done for you to speak to me like this, or for you to forbid me to serve you? I always serve every Vaishnava that comes here, and you are telling me not to touch anything. What is the reason for this? I am a Brahmin." Krishna Das replied, "You are a Brahmin only in your own home. Only the initiated disciples of Sri Acharyaji can serve here. If you touch any of his things, they would be polluted, and that is why we ask you not to touch them, for then we could not use them." Sundar Das stood at a distance. The Vaishnava broke the surface of the ground, brought water which they sprinkled over the place, and prepared a seat for Sri Acharyaji. Sri Acharyaji came and sat there. When he saw Sri Acharyaji's form, Sundar Das became very attracted to him. After this, Krishna Das went to the village to fetch some supplies. Sri Acharyaji bathed, cooked and made the offering. Thereafter he partook of Mahaprasad. He recognized Sundar Das to be a divine soul, and so he gave him some Mahaprasad too. Immediately on eating the prasad, Sundar Das's mind was purified. He went to Sri Acharyaji and said, "O Maharaj, you are the Lord himself. What offence have I committed that you will not let me serve you?" Sri Acharyaji answered, "The Vaishnavas who accompany me all know our ways and rules. You do not know about these. That is why we could not grant you any service." Sundar Das again piped up, "O Maharaj, please take me into your shelter and let me serve you. Only then will I be happy. Let me at least touch your feet." Seeing his humility, Sri Acharyaji taught him the Lord's name and then let him touch his feet. Then Sri Acharyaji took rest. Sundar Das enjoyed serving Sri Acharyaji's feet for the whole night, very lovingly. Several times Sri Acharyaji told him to go and take rest. But Sundar Das said, "Oh Maharaj, I can sleep any time, but when will I get a chance to serve you in this way?" In the morning, Sundar Das requested Sri Acharyaji to come to his home and initiate his wife. Sri Acharyaji went to his house, bathed and cooked, and then told Sundar Das and his wife to bathe, after which he granted Sundar Das the Brahmasambandha, and both the name and Brahmasambandha to his wife. There was a child swarup of Sri Krishna in Sundar Das's home. Sri Acharyaji bathed him in the 5 nectars and made an offering to him. He then took the Mahaprasad, and after having some, he gave the leftovers to Sundar Das and his wife. He stayed in Sundar Das's home for 2 more days and taught him all the ways of the path of grace. Then Sri Acharyaji went to Jagannath Puri and Sundar Das began to serve his Lord. Part 1. Sundar Das and Madhu Das were friends. Sundar Das thought to himself that Madhu Das's life would be fulfilled if he became Sri Acharyaji's disciple. Then all of his misdirected faith would be broken. Sundar Das praised Sri Acharyaji a lot before Madhu Das and told him that he could be spiritually satisfied in this very lifetime if he became his disciple. He told him that Sri Acharyaji was the Lord incarnate. But Madhu Das said that he believed in Sri Krishna Chaitanya. After that, Sundar Das kept quiet, but their friendship remained intact. Bhav Prakash. They were firmly related within the eternal Leela, and so they had affection towards each other. Sundar Das just wanted Madhu Das to be fulfilled within this very lifetime. He wanted Sri Thakurji to accept him. Usually what a great Vaishnava wants comes true. Part 1 continued. Sri Acharyaji spent some time in Sri Jagannath Puri and then travelled back. He stayed at Sundar Das's place on the way. He bathed, cooked and then made the offering to Sri Thakurji. At that very time, Madhu Das was in Sundar Das's home. When the time was right, Sri Acharyaji accepted back the Mahaprasad. Madhu Das noticed that the plate was still full. Sri Acharyaji partook of the prasad and then took rest. Only then Madhu Das said to Sundar Das, "Your Sri Thakurji does not eat the preparations that Sri Acharyaji offers. I saw that the plate was still full. In my house, when we make offerings, absolutely nothing is left on the plate. Our Sri Thakurji eats everything." Sundar Das asked him, "If nothing is left, what do you eat?" Madhu Das told him that he set aside enough for household consumption, but to their Sri Thakurji they offered more than enough, but they never got to eat any of that. Sundar Das told Madhu Das to come back in the evening when he would give him the explanation. Madhu Das went home. Sundar Das and his wife partook of their Mahaprasad. When Sri Acharyaji awoke from his rest, they asked him, "Oh Maharaj, there is a friend of ours, Madhu Das, a Saraswat Brahmin. He says that his Sri Thakurji eats everything that he puts in front of him and the plate comes back empty." Sri Acharyaji said, "He is an idiot. A ghost comes there and eats it all. Anything that is touched by Sri Thakurji's hand never diminishes. Madhu Das is a divine soul, and I know that you would like him to be uplifted. Therefore, it is time to bring him into the fold and make him into a Vaishnava." Sundar Das was very happy. Madhu Das came back there and then Sri Acharyaji called him close and said, "Oh Madhu Das, does the Sri Thakurji in your house eat all your offerings?" Madhu Das replied, Yes, he eats everything on the plate and nothing remains. So great he is." Sri Acharyaji said, "Tomorrow when you make the offering, please call me first and I will come there and watch." Sri Madhu Das agreed to call him in the morning. Madhu Das went home, and in the morning he got up and started cooking. When it was ready, he called Sri Acharyaji, "Oh Maharaj, come." Sri Acharyaji went and sat at the door to the temple. Madhu Das showed the plate and showed him how he offered it. Sri Acharyaji said, "All right, go ahead and make the offering." Madhu Das put the plate in front of Sri Thakurji, but then recalled the Muslim holy man. That holy man was really a ghost. He came there as called, but when he got close to the temple and saw Sri Acharyaji, he began to burn up in flames. He said to Sri Acharyaji, "Today I have died of hunger." Sri Acharyaji addressed him, "Up till today you have been eating, but from today onwards you will never come here, otherwise you will burn to ashes. Leave quickly." That holy man ran off in tears. When the time came, Madhu Das went to the temple to take back the offerings. He saw that the offerings were still in the plate as he had left them. Madhu Das went to Sri Acharyaji and said, "Today you came here, so my Sri Thakurji did not eat. You must be hungry." Sri Acharyaji said nothing. He quietly came to Sundar Das's home. He cooked and made the offerings to Sri Thakurji there, and afterwards ate the Mahaprasad and took rest. Then Sundar Das and all the Vaishnavas had their prasad. When night came, Madhu Das slept. In the middle of the night, Sri Thakurji's servants woke Madhu Das by throwing him off his bed onto the ground and beating him. He cried out and asked why they were beating him. The Lord's servant said, "Sri Acharyaji is the Lord himself, and you accused him of making your Sri Thakurji go hungry. That is why we are beating you. You always call that ghost to come and eat everything, and also invoke that Muslim holy man. Today Sri Acharyaji was sitting there, and so that ghost began to burn, and then run off. Today was actually the first day in ages that your Sri Thakurji has really had something to eat." Madhu Das said, I did not recognize Sri Acharyaji's form. That's why I made that comment. Tomorrow I shall go to him and beg forgiveness and become his disciple. Now please stop beating me. The Lord's servants replied, If you do not do as you have promised, then tomorrow night we shall come here and beat you into a pulp. Then they left. The next morning Madhu Das went to Sri Acharyaji, bowed to him and supplicated, O Maharaj, I have offended you very badly. I am a fool, and so I did not recognize your form. You are the Lord himself. Please forgive me. When my father died, he made me promise to respect that Muslim holy man and to keep Sri Thakurji just for show. Please, I beg you, come to my home and accept me as a disciple. I will serve the Lord in any way that you tell me. Sri Mahaprabhuji was pleased by Madhu Das's humility and went to Madhu Das's home. After he had bathed, Madhu Das was initiated with the Lord's name and Brahma Sambandh. Sri Acharyaji bathed Sri Thakurji with the 5 nectars and gave him into Madhu Das's responsibility. Sri Acharyaji cooked, made the offerings, and afterwards partook of the Mahaprasad. Then Sri Acharyaji told Madhu Das to go and invite all the Vaishnavas who lived in the town to come there to have prasad. Madhu Das said, but there is only a small amount of prasad here. There are many Vaishnavas in this village, so how will we be able to feed everybody? Sri Acharyaji admonished him, saying, You idiot! Is Mahaprasad ever inadequate? Call all the Vaishnavas. Madhu Das invited all the Vaishnavas, saying that Sri Acharyaji was calling them. They all dropped whatever they were doing and came there. Sri Acharyaji fed them all. The plate of Mahaprasad from which he served them never diminished. Sri Acharyaji then said to him, See, Madhu Das, a Vaishnava needs to have firm faith. Mahaprasad never finishes. This lesson Sri Acharyaji taught Madhu Das at that very time and place. Bhav Prakash. He needed to be given this lesson because he was a new Vaishnava, and by seeing the wondrousness of Sri Acharyaji, he was able to surrender to him. Without full surrender, and the fruit of devotion will never be perfected. Therefore, Sri Acharyaji showed him the Lord's glory in this way. Part 1 continued. Madhu Das's faith was solidified. Sri Acharyaji stayed there and showed him all the ways of service in the path of grace. Then he went back to Varanasi. Bhav Prakash. This tale teaches that the company of Vaishnavas can purify an individual's soul, however fallen they may be. In truth, it is not possible for a ghost to come before Sri Thakurji and eat the offerings. Ghosts and rampant spirits cannot even enter where Sri Thakurji is. How then could a ghost come and eat in front of Sri Thakurji? It has been explained above that Madhu Das, through the association of his own father, was fully ensconced in faith to the ghost. Therefore the ghost came there and ate. From company with deceitful cheats one can only experience grief. Only through saintly company can one be uplifted. Part 1 continued. Through this association with Sundar Das, Madhu Das became a great Vaishnava. Sri Thakurji soon began to allow him his personal experience. Sundar Das was a recipient of Sri Acharyaji's great grace. Thus concludes Varta 77. The story of Sundar Das and Madhu Das, Gangaputra Brahmins from Pipri village, although there is really no end to their tale. Aaj ke Anand ki jai ho, Shri Vallabhadish ki jai ho, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Sab Vaishnavan ko Jai Shri Krishna, Radhe Radhe.